From overconfidence to arrogance, we've seen it all. But here's a look at the worst chef across each season of MasterChef. And what better way to start than with someone who stirred up a huge controversy.
You're not doing it once, you're doing it twice. Not doing one sauce, two sauces, you're doing three sauces.
Correct.
From the get-go, Chiron had an air of overconfidence that you just couldn't ignore.
And I need to see every single person go home and be the last man standing.
And when his team wasn't up to standard, he decided to act up.
I will see you back in the MasterChef kitchen first thing tomorrow morning.
But hey, it's not like he was completely cool under the pressure of the challenges. I mean, remember this time when he was tasked to make cupcakes?
I have no idea how to make a damn cupcake.
Yeah, talk about stumbling through. But guess what? He went with it, and what do you know, it turned out to be better than anyone expected.
Cream cheese is rich, it's good, quite an accomplishment.
In any case, that chance victory may have given him the boost of pride that ensured his downfall. When he went head-to-head with Chef Kat Cora, it was to put everything on the line.
I can butter up these judges just a little bit and use butter instead of olive oil.
Well, we'll see how that goes. So here's what the challenge was about. Chiron had to recreate Kat's famous truffled halibut. Despite the high stakes and the chance to be rocketed into the Final Four, Chiron's dish just didn't cut it. It was a real disappointment for Chiron, and he lost his chance to make it big.
Congratulations, Kat Cora. Well done.
So here's the burning question. Was Chiron the real deal, or just a pawn whose job was to fail on reality TV? Some say he's just a chef who got unlucky or made bad choices, while others are convinced he's the show's biggest scripted storyline. But hey, whether you love him or love to hate him, there's no denying that Chiron left his mark on MasterChef Season 1. Alright, moving on to Season 2, we've got a young gun who is bursting with passion and flavor, but boy, did he rub some people the wrong way. Despite his youthful energy and desire to prove himself, Max quickly gained a reputation for being cocky and at times downright insufferable.
I'm just gonna kick their ass. I'm damn sure I'm gonna win the competition.
Yeah, like I said, Max was pretty ambitious in the kitchen, but he also couldn't get a grip on his emotions. If I remember right, there was this chicken challenge when Max had a major problem with one of the other contestants.
Susie is so arrogant. She thinks she's a professor of culinary arts.
Yeah, the dude had no problem bitching about people behind their backs. I mean, no wonder everyone hated him. His cocky attitude was only slightly more tolerable than his cooking.
I just hope that she'll slip up.
And forget about the rival team, he was too busy struggling with his own teammates.
Cooking all these burgers, trying to make up for what Tony can't do, and I can't find a clean tray to bring them out.
But as they say, what goes round comes around. When asked about Max's leadership, Tony's response brushed off Max entirely.
I really didn't need any leadership. I was assigned a job and I could handle any job that's given me.
Now, let's talk about conspiracy theories. Some fans out there are convinced that Max was just playing a role for the cameras. I mean, his over-the-top arrogance seemed a little too much, you know?
I like the presentation, and I think the judges are gonna find it genius.
What in the hell is that?
But was it really as good as he boasted?
Just for skin graft on my butt.
Yeah.
And stuck it in caramel.
Yeah.
That is horrible.
Yikes, Ramsay sure has a way of making food sound foul. But let's see what the other judges had to say.
I don't get a lot of coffee flavor at all. I don't get much of anything aside from the weird texture.
Well, whether he was really planted for the drama or not, his brash attitude didn't make him many fans at home or in the kitchen. And now, moving on to Season 3, let's talk about the self-proclaimed flavor elevator.
I'm the flavor elevator. I'm gonna keep raising the bar, and then once we get to the top, going over the top, America.
And well, he kept calling himself that, whatever it means, and cringe as it was, throughout the season. And when Chef Ramsay asked what he did for a living, let's just say his answer wasn't very elevated.
Find a job, Gordon? It's that I just didn't find exactly what I wanted to do yet.
Ryan, most people don't have that luxury.
And I totally agree with Chef Ramsay here.
They've been working nearly as hard as I've been working.
Excuse me, you've been out of a job for 18 months.
I mean, clearly this guy had quite a bit of unchecked confidence, but unfortunately for him, confidence doesn't necessarily equate to quality.
Then I'm slightly pissed off with the pretentiousness, the way you present food.
And then there were some more bad cooking moments, like the time he made balsamic rum glazed duck breast with caramelized bananas and sweet potato puree. Sounds fancy, right? But was it?
With duck, you've gone bananas. That's what's happened. You've gone bananas.
And let's not even get started on his cringy comments, especially when the disappointing duck dish forced him to fight for his spot.
I just wanted to say that I'm definitely not ready to go home yet.
The dude managed to annoy pretty much every woman in the competition, and he didn't even have to try that hard to do it.
It is what Satan himself would fear.
Reddit users bashed Ryan, calling him literally the worst and most awful contestant to have ever been featured on the show. Well, considering that they're of the mind that ranking him worse than Tali, his partner in crime, is the way to go. That tells you everything you need to know about his vile personality. I mean, Tali was a sick cook, but Ryan was loaded with a ton of sexism, arrogance, and never failed an opportunity to sabotage his fellow contestants. Well, Ryan, maybe if you let your food do the talking, just maybe, you could have made it further in the competition. But hey, his sacrifice didn't go unnoticed. Talk about friendship goals. Find you a person who'll jump on the grenade for you without even thinking. While Ryan found a friendship worth keeping for life in Tali, up next we have a contestant who is practically allergic to making friends. It seems she wasn't here to make friends, or even to show off her cooking skills. No, she was here to cook up trouble, and I mean, who else could it have been but Chrissy? She pretty much made season 4 as memorable as it was thanks to her antics. I mean, she really shook things up in the MasterChef kitchen, but not exactly in a good way. Let's all agree that she had some cooking skills, and we can't take that from her. But her vibe? Well, let's just say she wasn't winning any popularity contests.
She hates me.
She hates you.
Oh, absolutely.
Why would she hate you?
I have no idea.
But hey, you gotta give it to her cooking game was on point. Team challenges notwithstanding. But the drama she brought definitely made for some good TV. Still, it's no wonder the other contestants couldn't stand her.
I have more enemies than friends because I never kept my mouth shut.
But if we're talking about moments where she was just too hot to handle, let's rewind to this showdown between her and Jordan. Remember when Jordan picked Chrissy for his team, thinking he could flex some authority over her?
I'm gonna show her authority, and she's gonna listen to me. So Chrissy, why don't you walk on over here?
He first saved Howard and James, and then pulled the classic move and saved himself. But Chrissy wasn't having any of it.
Move in my neighborhood, that'll get your ass kicked. Captain goes down with the ship.
And man, she didn't hold back on any of them, not one bit.
Oh my God. Breakdown much?
At one point, it felt like her only job was criticizing everyone else. Like that time, she went off on Natasha's cooking.
His eggs Benedict looks the worst. I don't know what happened.
Love her or hate her, Chrissy definitely made MasterChef history for more reasons that I care to count. As for the viewers, opinions on Chrissy from MasterChef are all over the place. Some folks find her entertaining as a reality TV villain, while others think her behavior was downright toxic. But hey, you can't deny she made a mark on the show no matter what you think of her. Whether you were cheering her on or wishing she'd simmer down, Chrissy sure knew how to keep things interesting. But here comes a contestant who gained notoriety for making the biggest messes. In her dishes, on the floor, you name it. So, heading to season 5, Astrid Lavenia stole the show thanks to her undying confidence. And boy, you just gotta watch her in action here.
My signature dish is coriander crusted shrimp because I'm from Louisiana. This is me on a plate with a little bit of Latina.
But even with all that confidence, her dish didn't quite make the cut in the first round. Sure, she flashed those pearly whites and played nice with her fellow cooks, but when it came to cooking chops, well, she had cooking flops. And mistakes? Where do I even begin? And don't get me started on her hygiene. I mean, Astrid started the show on the wrong foot.
Astrid. Gordon Ramsay, I respect the hell out of you, so let's bring it, baby.
Now, what did she do with all those ingredients? She went full-on food fight, chucking peels and scraps to the floor like it was nobody's business.
Did she cook like that at home?
I mean, did she forget where she was at? It's not just disgusting, it's disrespectful to everyone that allowed her to be here in the first place. And well, it only got worse. Joe was the first one to swoop in and shut down the madness.
We're not going to tolerate disgusting working conditions. This is a kitchen.
Yeah, not exactly Michelin star material, nowhere close. But guess what she had to say about it? Anyway, after all that mess, here's what went down during the tasting.
Good dish, clean it up in the kitchen.
Yeah, Joe wasn't letting her off easy. As for Chef Ramsay, he started questioning even her most basic cooking skills.
That's raw, right?
I imagine so.
And just when you thought he was done, gave her a reality check to finish things off.
I'm struggling to understand where we can go with you.
And now, moving on to season 6, if you ask me, I think Matteo barely made a blip on the radar. But maybe that was for the best, so this guy was a school teacher and you know, He should have just continued teaching Spanish and science instead of leaving all those kids behind to shoot a shot on MasterChef.
Baking in general is a bit of a weakness for me, but as a teacher, if my students were in this situation, I would tell them to concentrate on the positive.
To get things started, Matteo went for a salted bourbon caramel glaze. But how did it turn out? Well, check it out yourselves.
Salted bourbon caramel glaze.
Oh.
Wow. That looks, awful. I'm just gonna say it. Awful. But let's see if Christina sees something in it, then I can't.
The spice, like the ginger for me, is just a little too much.
I mean, it was more about everything else except the apples, and Christina basically gave it a big thumbs down. As for Graham, well, his feedback was not much better, let me tell you that.
You are a high school teacher, and your summer break has come early.
And well, that's how one of the shortest journeys on the show came to an end.
It's time to take the apron off and put it back on your station.
But my next contestant on the list might come as a surprise to you. In season 7, David was one of the strongest and most talented, consistent, and creative cooks of the season. What's more, he came from a high-end fine dining background, so why is he on the list? Well, despite his skills, his terrible attitude overshadowed everything. He was always aggressive, hostile, and ready to explode.
Consider I'm a little angry right now. I'm gonna make a spicy one. Put that anger into heat.
Let's rewind real quick to see what went down on the show.
I didn't get to have a station to cook meat. I didn't get to have a station to cook zucchini. I didn't get a station because I was all stations.
Yeah, David was super cocky and almost always trash-talked the other cooks. David either disliked them or simply thought they were weak.
Oh, you're mad now and you targeted me.
No, I'm not. Dude.
You're mad because you're not up here. There's no way we're gonna send you up here.
I'm not mad because I'm not up there. I want to be down here, brother.
You see how this guy has literally no pause button for that motor mouth of his?
Still here, right?
Yep.
You might not be.
You're right. So why don't you shut up and let me cook?
What's worse? Fans thought he set a bad example for his daughter and were surprised the judges didn't kick him out sooner. I guess most people were just tired of his attitude and thought he didn't deserve to be in the finals. Anyway, moving from one insufferable home cook to another. Mark Togny was hands down the most arrogant contestant on MasterChef. He was always talking himself up with sports lingo and just rubbed everyone the wrong way.
As the action in the kitchen heats up, Captain Dan has zero control of the blue team.
Hey you, can you get a grip?
He totally misread that, didn't he? And his analogies were even more annoying.
I'm buzzing around my head.
Don't get started with me, homie.
But I gotta pull it together and stay focused on my dish. Come on, son.
Yeah, he really didn't know how to cook. Just talk, maybe. And that's a big maybe. With just 2 minutes left, Mark finished his dish first and hadn't grown an ounce of respect for the competition. I mean, why participate if that's how your attitude is gonna be?
60 seconds remaining. Come on.
Anyway, when Chef Ramsay took a bite of his chocolate chip pancake with baked eggs, bacon, and cilantro, here's what happened.
Straya, I completely forgot that we had to run it up here.
That's extreme confidence, isn't it? But here's some more.
5 of you cooked here in the kitchen tonight, but 1 of you is going home.
In the end, Mark got the boot for failing to step up from his last dish and for showing a lack of respect throughout the challenge.
But I'm leaving here today knowing that I made the best sausage in that kitchen.
So, what do the viewers think of him? Well, people couldn't stand his attitude, and he seemed to think he was the best cook in the room. And now, let's hop over to season 9, where we once again meet a chef who should have never made it to the show. Shanika, oh boy, where do I even start? Throughout the season, Shanika brought the fire, and not just in her cooking. She was a force to be reckoned with, oozing passion and skill like nobody's business. But when it came to team challenges, let's just say she wasn't exactly anybody's first pick. Her teammates saw her as a lone wolf, with vibes so negative that they could single-handedly sink even the easiest team challenges. Like take this time for instance, when she wasn't all that happy with Chelsea being the captain, and it showed, just watch the tension unfold.
Maybe you made some enemies, maybe you made a pie that could keep you here.
And it wasn't surprising that people hated her, but Shanika had problems with pretty much everyone around.
I don't like her in the kitchen. I like her outside of the kitchen.
Oh, really, Jody?
Like, she is also known for not getting along with Emily despite ending up on the same team.
I think pork chop is a mistake. Salmon doesn't take that long to cook. We can be a little bit more organized.
Oh man, they really couldn't get along.
The pork chops are at the same time being burnt and undercooked.
And well, not surprising, Shanika didn't do well under leadership.
Honestly, Shanika is the only person left who is still hanging on to the salmon.
Anyhow, let's get into what the internet is talking about their feud. You see, Shanika's Reddit reviews are a mixed bag. Some folks are totally on her side, saying she got a raw deal in season 9. They think she was made out to be bossy when really she was just trying to steer the ship away from disaster during all those team challenges. Plus, it's hard not to be a fan of her no-nonsense attitude, preferring it over people who beat around the bush. Others agree she had a point, but think maybe she could have softened her delivery a bit. However, there's a whole lot of fans out there who think she's got serious cooking chops and should have gone further in both seasons. But what do you think? Make sure to let me know. Meanwhile, I'm moving on to season 10, where we got to meet Evan. So, right from the start, Evan came off as a pompous prick who didn't even live up to his own hype.
The skills test was a complete fluke. That's not who I am as a chef.
And his work wasn't even great to begin with.
Aesthetically, it's off-putting, and it's missing a fresh element.
After episode 6, it seemed like the editors were focusing on making him look like a total douche, but he still remained true to his nature. The dude was a complete package. Of arrogance, that is.
Well, we didn't say it was that good. It was just
well, if it wasn't that good, I wouldn't be here.
Okay, you know what, Evan?
Wow.
I mean, that was totally uncalled for. But, well, it kept on getting worse.
I'm here to show you what I can do. I'm comfortable with these ingredients. I use these ingredients on a regular basis.
He sure as hell couldn't take criticism, and that little trait eventually led to him to get the boot. Now, let's go on to season 11, where Anai made her debut in the MasterChef kitchen. See, Anai burst into the competition with loads of energy. Her upbeat and sassy vibe caught the judge's eye, earning her an apron with a killer Mexican-inspired dish.
Being a first-generation Mexican-American influences my cooking, but I also don't want to keep it too traditional.
But once she hit the top 15, things went downhill fast. She started cutting corners like using store-bought tortillas for her tacos and skipping the baking in a baking challenge. Imagine that. Plus, she left mold on her cheesecake. She just couldn't bounce back from her slip-ups, and that sealed her fate. In the end, she got the boot because she couldn't shake off her poor performance. Up next, in season 12, is a contestant who was the life of the party. Yeah, his vibe was just unforgettable.
This dish is psychedelic.
And then he went on to say he was getting goosebumps. Well, that's Stephen Lee for you. You couldn't miss his quirky, energetic self, always keeping us on our toes with his unpredictable antics. So, why is he on my list today? Well, he got removed first.
I thought you were going to go far in this competition, and I didn't expect you to be cooking for the last time tonight.
And what led to that? Poor guy forgot to put gelatin in his panna cottas, which is like the most important step.
Steven, I'm going to give it to you straight. This is chocolate milk. This is terrible.
It was a total bummer, and bam, he was the first one to go out. I mean, I don't think he would have made it much further anyway, so I'm totally in on the judge's decision here. And now, time to reveal the worst chef from the last season to have been aired. Well, unfortunately, I'm not from the future where season 14's run its course, so you'll have to settle for me talking about Amanda from season 13. This stay-at-home mom from suburban California decided it was time to do something just for her after years of keeping her family together. Being all about health, she wanted to change from the usual state fair grub.
Cooking is my passion, obsession, and now it's my time.
Let's go, babe!
But when she whipped up her version of herb-crusted halibut, it fell flat.
Completely dominating my palate, so for me, it's a no.
Wow.
She, however, managed to get the apron thanks to Chef Ramsay, who saw something in her, I guess. Either way, he wanted to give her another chance. But that doesn't mean she did justice to his faith in her. Amanda was out even before she started to even get a lay of the land. And well, those are my picks for the worst chef from each season of MasterChef. Whose name would you add to the list? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you want to see something crazier, make sure to check out this next video right here. I'm sure you won't be disappointed.